everybody. This is BK International Talent Scout on the phone lines and on StreamYard. We have Wow by Char. She is a author. She is also part of the Facts newspaper. How are you doing today, Char?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you today, BK?
I'm doing good. Today we're going to talk about your book. We're going to talk about your documentary, and we're going to talk about you being putting in a weekly article in the famous Community Facts newspaper. Let's talk about your weekly article. How did you get started writing your weekly article in the Facts newspaper?
For those who don't know me, my name is Chardonnay Beaver. I am a third generation of the Beaver family as far as the Facts newspaper goes. My grandfather was Fitzgerald Beaver, who was the chief and editor and founder of the Facts. So for the past 4 years, I've been writing and publishing my column, Words of Wisdom by Char. Char is a nickname that family calls me, and I thought it would be a nice abbreviated way to introduce myself. So I've been writing it, and my column delves into topics like purpose, identity, authenticity, just from a fresh perspective. And it has grown me in many ways, but I took my column, the 4 years worth of entries of pieces, and I put it in my book, Words of Wisdom, a compilation of life principles inspired by truth and guided by purpose, Volume 1. It's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble right now. But I put it into the book and published it in May. And so it's been a fun ride.
Wow. So, what inspires you to write your weekly articles?
Yeah, so actually back in 2020, my aunt Marla, who's the chief and editor of the Facts, she approached me about writing a column. She had seen my gift, and though I've grown up in a family of publishers, I was never pressured to be a part of media. And so God just naturally directed my path in that direction. And I started writing. Not only do I write my column, but I am a trained journalist. I got my degree from the University of Washington in journalism and public interest communication. So I've written all throughout the city, from Cascade PBS to the South Seattle Enroll, the Seattle Medium, the Facts, of course, to name a few. And so writing has been great, but my column is just so personal. I feel like it's a creativity. Every time I get to my keypad on my computer to write, ideas flow through. And wisdom, of course, comes by way of age, but I know that it also comes by way of, faith and reverence and maturity. And so it's been a great process.
So, do you get feedback from young people as you're walking down the street, or what's your interaction with young people? Because I think it's such a cool thing for you to be writing an article that you can connect with your generation and children, and then people that just like your writing style. What is your interaction when you meet people on the street?
Yeah, so Wow by Char was actually an Instagram page that I started back in 2019. And so my peers, my friends, things like that, community, they had already been looped in with the page or aware of the page. I've been in and out, haven't been the most consistent with the page, to be honest. But from there, the column was launched, and I've done a lot of public speaking. So in community, I'll be stopping grocery stores, at events, and people will be like, Wow by Char, Wow by Char. Totally forget my name is Chardonnay. Like, forget your real name. You're Wild by Char. So I did it to
Wow.
myself. But it's been really cool. But that's happened my whole life. Every birthday that I've had, every event has been in the paper. And so people have watched me grow up. And it's been a fun experience.
Oh man, that is so cool. I do think that's a cool name. Wow by Char. That is
Yeah.
so cool. It has to be a t-shirt. It has to be a t-shirt.
coming soon,
Hey, a little
DK.
bit of prophetic. Okay, let's go to the next step in this interview. You have done this incredible documentary, and I
Oh,
want you to lead into it and share about it and get people excited about your event coming up.
yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit of backstory so people get a sense of kind of how I go into creating. There's a story about a young leader that I admire, I glean from, and I'm gonna kind of, for the sake of time, brush past some of the details in the story. But the young leader had a dream, and the Lord came to him in a dream, and he asked him, whatever it is that you're desiring, let me know because I will grant it to you. Not because the young leader was better than anyone else, but just because of the matters of his heart for God. And the young leader was anxious about the things that were before him, the people who had depended on him. And he said to God in the dream, I could ask for riches and everything else, but I actually think I need wisdom. And BK,
Mm.
this is the main part. He said, not wisdom just for myself, but to lead your people, not to dominate or oppress your people, but to lead them because I'm a young leader. And so the Lord said, wow. He's quite impressed by the leader and told him, you know what? I will bless you with an understanding heart. And in addition to that, I'll also give you fame and wealth and all these other things because of, where your heart is. And so that's kind of been my heart this whole time when it comes to anything I approach is having a sense of purpose and ensuring that my vertical relationship is informing my horizontal relationships. And so, with this project, as a young leader, I was working alongside two incredible leaders in their own right, bosses in their own right. My sister, Moe Beaver, was the director of the documentary, and Masai Matthews, who had gone to Seattle Film School and has his own short film, Building Bridges, about Ruby Bridges. We came alongside each other and created this project in association with the McKinney Center for Community and Economic Development. And so this film is about this building that has sat for the past 5 decades on the corner of 22nd and South Jackson Street in the Central District. It was originally known as the Seattle Opportunities Industrialization Center, took form as that, but it's evolved from being that to the Seattle Vocational Institute and now the McKinney Center for Community and Economic Development. Though this story centers a building and the legacy and rich cultural impact of Reverend Dr. Samuel Barry McKinney, it's also about the community that houses this building. And so, I mean, there's so many array of topics that this story reaches from the Great Migration to Reaganomics and the crack era in Seattle, all the way down to gentrification that we're facing today. And I'm really proud of this work of this body of work. It's my love letter to the neighborhood that my family and I have been a part of for over 5 generations. And so I'm going to be doing a screening and a book signing on the 20th, this Saturday, between 2 and 5 p.m. at Mount Zion Baptist Church to screen the film for the first time, as well as sign my book for the first time. And so two of the first happening at the same time. It's exciting.
Wow. So it's three people working on this film project, and it's
Yeah.
about a building in the center of the central area. What made you guys want to wrap your creativity around this building to bring it alive to get people excited about it again?
Yeah, so I was executive producer on the film. I had wrote the documentary and had approached the McKinney Center about, telling this story because a lot of times if we don't record and document the stories of these instrumental places in our community, we just won't know. And with gentrification, we're losing so much of our history connected to landmarks. So my whole life growing up in the city, I never really knew the substance or the heart behind the sacrifice and the impact of that building. And as I started to write out the documentary and work alongside the McKinney Center, which now the building is named the McKinney Center for Community and Economic Development, it's governed by the Central District Community and Preservation Development Authority. So many words. I know. I know. But when I started to work alongside them about this project and talk to them, then I built the team with my sister, who has incredible experience. She lives in Los Angeles. She's an actress. She has her own book as well. She's a poet. Her name is Moe Beaver. She also graduated from the University of Washington. And then I contacted Masai, who is, I mean, like I said, has his own projects and very talented. And I said, how can we, as young Black people in our 20s, come together and tell this story about the community that is changing and shifting? And so when I tell you, BK, it was wild. We filmed, and you've been in media for some time now, so you know that it takes a lot to work on things like this. We filmed a week and a half before Christmas, okay, which is wild. Majority of our interviewees were elders because we want to capture that history. And so they were so generous to show up and give their time and, you know, their history, their experiences. So from September of 2023 to May of 2024 was when we did the documentary, which is like, those who are familiar with documentaries, that's not a common thing. Like 8 months of doing a documentary. It's wild. It's wild. So, and alongside that, I was writing my book. And so talk about an overachiever. I did a lot there. I did a lot.
Wow, that. So you were able to reach out to the elders. Are there any young people in your film, or just
The
older people?
Mostly the elders. And so, like I said, this story ranges from, we're talking about post World War II all the way up to the present. We have people in the community. Mostly, I would say the youngest person in our film is a millennial, and then myself, I'm a Gen Z. And so I'm actually in the film interviewing folks, but there's also so much like rich historical archive in there. In the trailer of the film, those who get a chance to see that, which you can find through my personal pages. I think I sent it to you also, BK. Hopefully we can get the people to see it. But yeah, we don't have any young people in the film, so it makes me excited about the next project. But there was young people in the process of making the film, which was very fun and refreshing for our elders to see, the next generation.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. You know, I have to tell you this. I don't want to date myself, but in one of my summer youth programs, we got to go to your dad's newspaper and your granddad's newspaper and watch him create the newspaper. It was like a field trip.
Wow.
And just to like talk to you about this is just like, man,
Aw.
it's a heavy thing. And also being a part of the community. I mean, like your grandfather was so cool because we used to
Mm,
like put ads or articles in the paper about Christian events coming up, and
yes.
he would talk to me. And I remember this one time, it just,
Oh.
this one day, he just said, "Hey, you want to know the secret to my newspaper?" And I said, "Yes." And then I just sat down in this chair.
Mm, wow.
It just like blew me away because people usually don't go that deep, but
Mm,
he loved community so much, and to see you writing in the paper and then taking it to the next step with the documentary, I just think
yeah.
some really cool things are happening in the community, and for you to have a desire to preserve that and present that. um, I know there's young people that's gonna watch this and they're like, how can I be inspired to do what you do? What kind of words of wisdom do you have for young people?
Of course, put God first. and truly put him first, because I know that, first of all, let me back up and say thank you, BK, for even taking the time to share that precious memory. I didn't get the chance to meet my grandfather. He passed when my dad was like 13 years old. And so he's always been a figure in my life. And the Bible talks about how a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And I've always said that my grandfather has left an inheritance that transcends monetary gain, which is tools and skills and gifts in media. I mean, a lot of us are self-taught. And so I'm very grateful for the legacy I come from, and I entrust God with my gifts because he's a gift giver. So I would tell anyone to first identify and come into agreement with the fact that you have a purpose on this earth, and that your life is a vapor. It's here today, gone tomorrow. And so you want to be really mindful of your attachments, and to get around people who can pour into you, who are advanced in what they do, and also believe in yourself, and to be patient with the process. I think that there's definitely a hope deficit amongst our youth, especially in our city of Seattle, with just recent events of gun violence and chaos, quite frankly. And so it's super important that we continue to cultivate hope in their lives. And I hope that this film inspires people to do this. Like, there was 3 of us in our 20s getting together, doing a film project. I played an instrumental role in the film because not only did I host it, narrate it, but I also edited my first film. I edited the film myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's a whole nother layer. I don't encourage that. But, you know, one of our silent principles at the Facts is the work's not done until it's done. And so
Oh, wow.
you got to get the work done. And I'm incredibly proud of it. And so I also want to say real quick, BK, I think that it's important for young people and elders to get under each other. I think it's important for elders to be open and honest with young people about their own stories. I was talking to a family friend, and we were talking about how if we don't have enough references and awareness of the models that were before us, like the Reverend McKinney's, like just so many other figures in our community, from Quincy Jones, my grandfather, right? But also incredible women pillars like Reverend Dr. Phyllis Beaumonte, who I'm working alongside for this event through the History and Archive Ministry at Mount Zion on the 20th. And so it's getting under elders who can pour into you and be curious about, you know, where you're from. It's important to be grounded. So that was a lot in a nutshell. But first and foremost, put God first. Like, know your creator. And from there, you can do anything. Know your creator. Yeah, ask God to let you see yourself the way that he sees you. And that's a big part of how I was able to create this book. So,
wow. So you go
yeah.
from Instagram to the Facts newspaper to this great storytelling idea. Tell us, before we end this interview, tell us what's next for Wow by Char.
Well, what's next is this event on the 20th. Like I said,
Okay.
it's a book signing between 2 and 5 p.m. It's a free event as well. So
Oh,
RSVP
cool.
yes, it's a free community event. So RSVP is required. And so you can go on eventbrite.com and just search my name, first and last name, Chardonnay Beaver, and it'll come right up. Or you can come to my Instagram page, _@ Char Beaver, and I'll have it in my bio link. But yeah, it's really promoting this book. Like I said, 4 years, it feels like a graduation that I've been writing my column. And so
Right.
it's exciting. This is the book here. My screen's a little blurred, but book here, the back of the book, that's me here as well. And you can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles, or just come through and I'll be selling and signing the book at the event. I definitely have a few content ideas of what I want to do. And as far as filmmaking, I definitely want to continue. I already know the next documentary I'm going to do. I won't spoil it, but I'm excited. Now this doc is 90 minutes, BK. I don't
Okay.
know why I went all the way over the edge. 90-minute film. I won't be doing that for the next project, but that's what's next for me, and whatever else God has for me, I want it.
Oh wow, this is so exciting. Oh wow. I don't want to take up too much of your time because you know how Facebook and all these entities. But hey, people might want to invite you to their event. So how can they invite you to your event? And do you have any speaking engagements coming up?
Outside of my event on the 20th, that's my main focus, to be honest with you. I'm pacing myself because for the past 9 months I've been, excuse me, for the past 9 months I've been underground working on these two projects. So I have a speaking engagement actually August 28th. I'll be emceeing an event alongside Eddie Rye Jr., who's also in the film
Oh
for the
wow.
documentary. Yeah, Eddie Rye's in the film. And so he'll I'll direct people to his information, go to his Facebook page, as well as his radio show that comes on Thursdays. I'll be on there this Thursday as well. And so I'll have that event. But for those who want to reach out, please feel free to email me at wowbychar@gmail.com. And like I said, check out my Instagram page at underscore Char Beaver. And yeah, I just did a speaking engagement in Tacoma. And so I'm just open. I want to definitely expand beyond Seattle, into different cities in Washington, but also out of state. And so
Oh
God's will
wow,
be done.
you're on your way. Thank you for
I received
taking
that. Thank you.
time. Thank you for taking your time to share with us. And we want everybody to come to your event on the 20th. We want people to check you out on the 28th. We hope you do more of these podcasts all across the Pacific Northwest because your voice, your face, and your stories must be heard. This is BK
Oh,
International Talent Scout with Wow by Char. Oh, this has just been a life changing experience for me, and we have to do a follow up soon.
indeed. Thank you, BK, for all that you do and what you've been doing in the community and outward. I appreciate you and God bless.
All right, God bless you, and we'll see you next week.